If you are somebody that is considering buying a house on well water, or maybe you already live in a house that's on well water and you're considering selling, make sure that you stick around to the end of this video because we are going to go over everything you need to know about well water. Hello everyone, I'm Jen, your Delaware realtor. If you're new here, I make videos all about buying, selling, and trending topics in the real estate market, so make sure that you hit that subscribe button so that you never miss a new video. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about what you need to know whether you're buying or selling a house that is on well water. So first and foremost, the well water will need to be tested whether you're buying or selling, and there are some components that are necessary to keep in mind, so let's just get started. First, a water potability test is done. This test determines whether your water is drinkable. And let's be honest, we all need drinkable water. So a professional will come in and thoroughly analyze your water supply. So they are going to be taking samples and then they will bring that back to the lab and print you out a full analytical report as to what is in your water. Bacteria is one of the most serious problems that we find in water because you do not want bacteria in your water as it causes other problems. But keep in mind there are solutions if they do find bacteria in your water. So the first solution if you have bacteria in your water is to shock the well. And basically what that is you will hire a well company that will come in and they will either use bleach or chlorine and they will dump that down into your well. They let it soak for about a half hour to an hour and then they will come inside and they will open up all of your faucets, your bathroom tub, flushing the toilets, and they'll let that run. And what you're trying to do is essentially clean the pipes and get rid of the bacteria. So you will start to smell that chlorine or bleach in your house. I would recommend opening up the windows. And at that point, we know that it has gotten through all of the pipes. So after that, we then take another sample. It will be sent back to the lab, and then that determines that the bacteria is all gone. The second solution is to install a UV filter onto the well. So essentially, even though there is bacteria in the well and it is coming in, it will go through a UV filter before it enters the rest of your house. So the well water will come in, it will go through the UV filter, and then it will go to your faucets, your drinking water, and your bathtub. And essentially what it is it's going to kill all of the bacteria and germs as it enters through your house. Now, this method isn't normally the most common method. Normally it is shocking the well first, and then this is normally a secondary thing. Or you've bought the house and you've decided to put a UV filter on because it makes you feel better. Either way, both tests, you will need to run a second water sample to the lab to make sure that there is no bacteria in the house. In addition to bacteria, there are also several other contaminants that your well could fail inspection for. So I'm going to go over the contaminants and a solution for each of those. The first one is nitrates. Nitrates are often found in homes in rural settings near farmland, or if your well is a shallow well, typically less than 50 feet deep. The nitrates are the runoff from the fertilizer used on the farmland, and if your water is found to have more than 10 milliliters per liter, the water is considered undrinkable. There are two methods to removing nitrates from your drinking water, and the first one is the ion exchange. An ion exchange system uses a tank full of resin and removes much more than 90% of nitrates from the water, and it regenerates with common salt. The second method is called a reverse osmosis system, and basically what this does is it removes any and all contaminants from the water and is normally put at the point of use, typically the kitchen sink. The second contaminant is pH. The pH of water is the measure of how acidic or basic your water is. Acidic water can cause corrosion in metal plumbing, while basic water will cause offensive taste. In general, the pH is an indicator of other problems because very rarely is it a problem in itself. This problem can be fixed by installing a neutralizing filter, commonly containing calcium carbonate or magnesium oxide. So other dangerous contaminants that are tested for but have never been in any of the wells that I've ever dealt with and never failed for are arsenic, copper, and lead. So there are other contaminants that are not considered dangerous and they're not tested for, but I think a homeowner who is living with a well should know these things. Very common in well water is hardness and iron. And let me just tell you from personal experience that these are two things that you definitely want to take care of. So I did not take care of the hardness in my water, and it destroyed my water heater within 3 years. I mean, ate right through it. And it has destroyed appliances, fixtures, my hair, my skin. So the most common way to fix the water hardness is to install a water softener. So I definitely recommend that. Now, the other thing is iron. Iron can destroy your white clothes. It will stain your bathtubs, your toilets, your sinks. So I definitely recommend also installing a iron shield to take care of this problem. Another thing that I find that a lot of times when I'm touring with buyers is they will see a water softener on a home and think that that just takes care of everything. And I can tell you that it does not. Yes, it does take care of the hardness, but it does not take care of the nitrates, the bacteria, or anything like that. It just takes care of the hardness. So you will need to install these other things on there if your water fails for the other contaminants that I've brought up in the video. Okay, so the third thing that you need to know is inspecting the well and the water flow. Now, this test is not typically done and would probably only be done if the inspector saw that there was an issue with the well. For example, if he came in and turned on the faucet and there wasn't a lot of water flow or there wasn't a lot of pressure, at that point he would then probably dive a little bit deeper. So what he'll do is he'll go and inspect the well for what he can see outside above ground. Now, normally wells are buried, so they're not going to dive into the well. They will put it up on the inspection report, as a well company does need to come in if they find that it is not working properly. So what they're doing is they are looking to see that the size of the well and the water flow is enough to hold this size of a household. How the inspector tests this is they use a hose and a bucket and they see how long the hose takes to fill the bucket. And what they're testing is the gallons per minute flow. The inspector will then come back in an hour to test again to see how the flow is then as well. This helps to determine if the water that is coming in from the well is enough to support this size household. Now, once again, I just want to reiterate that this is not typically a test that is done. Normally, it is just to test the water, and the only reason that this test would be done would be if the inspector found a problem with the well. So something else to consider when you have a well is that if you lose electricity, you don't have water. And this I had to learn the hard way. I will be honest. I grew up in the suburbs, so when the power went out, we still had water. Well, now I live in a rural setting and I do have a well, and when the power goes out, I have the water that is left in my pressure tank, and that is it. So what a lot of people will do is they will buy a backup generator, or they will get a whole house generator and hook it up to the well, so this way that when the electric goes out, they still have water. Also, what people used to do or still do is they fill their bathtub with water, and this way they can kind of use that. Now, I didn't do that. When we first moved here, we lost power for 28 hours and I didn't have water for 28 hours, but we did have a backup generator, so I was able to hook up my well right at the end and be able to use the bathroom and take a shower and stuff like that. But I just want to reiterate that if you have a well and the power does go out, you have enough water that's in your pressure tank, and that's about it. So make sure that you use it wisely. Okay, so the last thing that I want to bring up is, even though your water was tested when you purchased the house, you should do an annual water test. And this is because your water could be coming from different areas of the ground, or things change, the environment changes, and when it got tested, it maybe didn't have bacteria and it didn't have nitrates and it didn't have all these things, but things change over time. So you should check your water annually, do a water test. Home Depot sells them. You could call the inspection company that did your home inspection. They can do it for you, but you definitely want to be testing your water annually so that you know if you have bacteria or nitrates or your pH level or the hardness. You might want to test for that as well. And this way you know, and you can, now knowing, you can fix all of these things. You can add a nitrate system, you can add a water softener. You just want to make sure that the water that you are drinking is completely safe. When purchasing a house with a well, you always want to ask about the well, when it was installed, how deep it is, do they know the flow rate, do they know if any of the pipes have been changed? This will give you a better understanding of what you're purchasing. Now, I also want to reiterate, keep in mind in Delaware, if your well water does fail for bacteria, nitrates, pH, and it is not addressed, it is marked as a major defect, and if the seller does not address it, the buyer can cancel the contract and walk away with their full deposit. Now, I know I just threw a bunch of information at you all at once, so be sure to go back and watch the video multiple times. I really hope that this video helps. If it did, be sure to give me a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you never miss a new video. And if you have any questions about wells or anything else about the buying and selling process, be sure to comment down below. I try to answer all of my comments. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you on the next one. Hey, speaking of wells, are you selling or buying a house that has a septic system? Check out this video right here. And if you would love to tour Delaware new construction homes with me, check out this playlist right here. And don't forget, subscribe to my channel.